Hey everyone, welcome to Fantasy Book Reviews. My name's Nick, and today I'm going to be going over my top 5 favorite moments from Book 3 of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series, The Dragon Reborn. This video will have spoilers for the entirety of the third book, so if you haven't finished reading The Dragon Reborn, just come back after you've done so. With that spoiler warning out of the way, let's start with my number 5 spot, and that is going to be Perrin being an absolute badass in the attack on the Dragon Reborn's camp. In the first 5 or 6 chapters, he single-handedly killed just a handful of Trollocs and a Myrddraal on his own. And then he just kind of howled out in front of Min and Loyal and everyone, and I just found it to be really funny. Even though this scene is actually kind of sad, it also had a lot of humor in it. On to the number 4 spot. This is going to be the scene where Mat uses the roll of fireworks that he has to create a diversion and ends up blowing up a hole in the impenetrable Stone of Tyr. Then, being just the crazy kid that he is, he sees the hole and decides to jump right into it, even though that he had intentionally used the fireworks to draw all the guards to that location. And then he proceeds to have to fight his way through the Stone of Tyr all the way to the dungeon, you know, the true epitome of a dungeon crawler right here. Now, the number 3 spot is going to be Perrin freeing Gaul, the caged Aielman. And when you see him saving someone who he feels is unjustly imprisoned, it really gives you a glimpse into Perrin's moral character. Plus, I mean, it's just really fun and cool to see Perrin step into the role of this badass, for lack of a better word, and that really happens here whenever him and Gaul just end up killing or incapacitating almost a dozen White Cloaks between the two of them. I also like this scene a lot because the legendary Aiel warriors have been getting teased a ton in Book 2 and Book 3, and this is just the first time that we really get to see how deadly they really are, right? Gaul is completely unarmed and takes out a majority of the Children of the Light in this scene. A ton of them go to Perrin, but the Aiel are definitely these fabled and infamous warriors. Spot number 2 is going to be a bit of a change from the action scenes that I've chosen so far, and is going to be Mat healed from his connection to the Shatter Logoth dagger. Just the build up to this scene where the Almerlin Seat is actually considering not healing him at all to break his bond on the Horn of Valir. Then we get the relief of seeing that they are going to save him, in fact. And then during the healing, he starts just cursing out all of the Aes Sedai in the Old Tongue while he's like ordering this whole battle that has happened thousands of years ago. It's just a really cool scene, and feels right how much power is needed to heal him of his bond that he's been accruing for almost a year now, right, throughout the course of 3 books. It just seemed like a really fitting end to this struggle with the dagger that Mat has been having. Before I get to my number 1 spot, I wanted to give a few honorable mentions because I understand that my scenes are pretty heavily skewed towards 2 characters, if you haven't noticed. To be fair, this book is super heavily based around Mat and Perrin and really developing their characters, but there were still really cool scenes with other characters. They just weren't as cool to make my top 5 list. Now, the first honorable mention is going to be the end sequence with Rand, Balal, and Baalzamon. We finally have a body left from Baalzamon. This was just the ending that we needed from the first 2, where they were kind of sloppy, you know, they just weren't complete endings. And then another honorable mention that I just wanted to bring up was Moraine showing up Perrin and Loyal in their hand fishing at the river. You can't ever underestimate the skills that Moraine has, even if they are enhanced by the power. And my final honorable mention is going to be Nynaeve, Egwene, and Elaine just annihilating those 3 fates in front of the Aiel that came and saved them. With that, the number 1 scene in The Dragon Reborn for me has to be Mat beating Gawain and Galad 2v1 in the water practice yard. You know, literally only 1 day after being healed from the dagger. It's so satisfying and cool. Even though I like Gawain as a character, and even Galad to an extent, it's just so satisfying seeing them getting taken down a peg. With this scene, I just wanted to give a little comparison with the duel between Rand and the Seanchan High Lord Turok in Book 2. In mine and Ray's deep dive that we did, I gave that duel some crap for being so unrealistic. I think the difference here is that it totally makes sense and is really reasonable to assume that Mat has been training in the quarterstaff since he was a boy. His father is considered second in quarterstaff only to Rand's dad in Emond's Field, and even though they don't necessarily learn these weapons as a means of killing someone, they take it seriously because of the competition at every bell time. You know, even though this might not be a very good reason to some, it makes the reason that Matt would have learned the quarterstaff in such a proficient manner reasonable to me. But for Rand at the end of that book, it just didn't make sense with the time frame that he had with training for the sword. And to be fair, the Rand versus Turok situation was life and death, so it's a little bit different, but I still think this one just totally makes more sense, and it's so much more satisfying to me. With that, those are my top 5 moments from the Dragon Reborn book. If you thought different moments deserved to be up there, let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching.